Chapter 15, Cage 2. Ken Slesher knew one person in LA, but it was the perfect person. It was a guy from film school named Matt Scalp, and Matt had a place with a spare room. "That's why I got the place, so people could get a foothold out here as they move out," Matt told Ken over the phone. "The spare bedroom's all yours." Ken insisted on paying something, but Matt blew him off. "First month, no way. After that, let's just keep dialogue open," he told him. Ken arrived in his green Toyota Tercel on a Sunday, and Monday morning he went right out, bought the Backstage West and Dramalog, and combed the classifieds. Then he went to Kinko's on Olive and faxed his resume to 19 different classified ads. The whole thing cost him almost $30, but that was the price of getting started. He used Matt's home number as his callback, then he planted himself on the couch with the phone right in front of him. He didn't move for the next 5 hours. At around 7 o'clock, Matt came home from work. "How's it going?" Matt asked. "I've got a weird favor," Ken responded. "If I give you money, will you go get me some food? I don't want to miss a call." "Seriously?" Matt replied. "Yeah, I sent out feelers and I don't want to miss a call." Okay. And just that second, the phone rang. The shoot was a pilot for a legal comedy. They needed a grip for the rest of the week. Paid a flat rate of $25 a day. Crew call was tomorrow, 7 a.m. "I'll be there," Ken said, and slammed the receiver down so hard he practically broke the phone. He set 2 alarms for 5:30 to be sure he got up in time. He dove in hard. Ken was a workhorse. He rigged tracks, pushed dollies, and at one point spent 90 minutes on his belly to get a particularly tricky shot to work. They didn't wrap until almost midnight, and crew call was the next day at 6:15. Hell yes. Ken set his alarms for 4:30. By the end of the week, Ken had made a bunch of contacts and had a real credit he could put on his resume. He'd also made $100, although that would come in the mail in a week or so. Next up, he landed an assistant gig for a celebrity auction that paid $75 a day, which sounded great, except he had to use his own car. He spent the week running all over the place, picking up gift baskets in Westlake, taking paperwork to a house in Echo Park. By the night of the event, the whole team had fallen in love with him. More contacts, more references, more momentum. The event was a blast. Kelsey Grammer was the headliner, but there was a whole group of other actors and models. Ken stood at the back of the room and found himself taking it in and thinking, "I'm doing it. This is really happening." After the event, as he was helping clean up, the producer came over and gave him $200 in cash to reimburse him for the gas. Ken about shit his pants. That night, he gave Matt $100. The next morning, he went to the place on Van Ness and got himself a motherfucking pager. Now he was sitting pretty. 2 days later, he got a call from someone he'd worked with on the pilot. It was a straight-to-video movie called Cage 2, starring Lou Ferrigno, the deaf bodybuilder guy who played the Incredible Hulk back in the 80s. 4-week gig, 50 a day, hell yes. Started Monday, but the crew was having a happy hour Saturday night. Did he want to come? First day of shooting was awesome. It was way bigger and more legit than the pilot. Ken dove in full force, crawling on his belly, lining up dolly tracks. He was filthy before noon and loved it. Then that afternoon, he was the first one to realize the food service folks had put out Klondike bars. Ken waltzed onto the set, eating one, and set off a stampede. But that night when he got home, he found he'd received an envelope in the mail. Everything stopped. All the vibe, all the feel-good, silenced and distanced and gone. It was his credit card bill. He pinched the envelope with his fingers and felt the thickness of the multiple pages inside. His body felt rubbery and hot. He opened it, pulled out the folded sheets, and flipped through them page after page of itemized lines. He only took in snatches of words and dates and numbers. His face was flushing and his ears were tingling. He could hear a roaring static. He slapped the papers down beside him and put his head down between his legs, panting and nauseous. Bit by bit, his breathing slowed down and his neck started to feel cooler. He touched his forehead and found his hair was slick with sweat. He groped over to the side and found the stack of papers. Without looking at them, he stuffed them back into the envelope. Then, with his eyes closed, he made it over to the desk, set the envelope down, and then quickly left the room. The final day of Cage 2 came fast. As a gesture of thanks, Lou Ferrigno gave everyone in the cast and crew an autographed photo with a personal note on it. So nice. When Ken's turn in line came, Lou asked him his name. Ken Slesher, Ken told him. I really appreciate this. It's my first real job. I won't ever forget you or this. I'm so happy to hear that, Lou replied in his lilted speech that was a product of being deaf. Lou extended his hand, and Ken shook it heartily. As Ken left the table, he looked down at the signed headshot. It read, "To Ben Slesher, all my best, Lou." Ben Slesher? Lou Ferrigno had gotten Ken's name wrong. Damn it. Ken brought the photo home and tossed it into the desk drawer. The next couple of weeks were slow. He updated his resume and sent out a whole new wave of faxes to the classified ads and the trade pubs. He also called everyone he'd worked with on the first few gigs. One of the faxes finally hit. Another straight-to-video project, this time a horror movie called Candyman 2. It was $30 a day. They were going for 7 days, then 2 weeks off, and then another 3 weeks on. Was he in? Hell yes. It was a movie credit, but he got nervous as he said yes. The mail kept coming. Car payments, student loan payments, a second credit card. He kept stacking them on his desk, feeling queasy every time he looked at the pile. $30 a day was not enough, but he did it anyway. The week of work flew by in a blur of setups and teardowns and banter and smoke breaks. He loved every second of it. Even after a 15-hour day, he was sad when they called wrap. But then came the 2-week break in the shooting schedule. That 2 weeks was bad. He read some. He went for a walk up in one of the canyons. He tried to smoke as little as possible, even though he was nervous and bored. He slept. He wasn't sure he could afford to keep it up. He was desperate to pay Matt something for rent. His car needed work, and the gas, insurance, food, everything. He hopped in the car and drove 2 blocks to the Mr. Tobacco drive-thru on Mariposa when he stopped and saw the now hiring sign at the Foot Locker. He went in and filled out an application. The next day, he got a page from the Candyman 2 folks. They were delayed another week, still trying to get the funds lined up, and bad news, pay was $25 a day now, and you might have to feed yourself. Cutting the food service was a way they were considering saving money. The assistant producer said she knew it sucked and asked Ken to call and confirm tomorrow. Ken said he would. Then he hung up the phone and tried not to look at the stack of bills on the desk. But just then he got another page. Ken eagerly called back. His hands were trembling. "Hello, I just received a page from this number," Ken said, praying for a gig. Yes, I'm calling from Foot Locker. I'm looking at an application from Ken Slesher. Is this he?" Ken froze. He had to take it. He had to. He drew in a breath to say yes, and then stopped short. "Hello?" the voice asked, but Ken stayed silent. He loved it out there in L.A. He loved driving around for work, especially at night with the hillsides and apartments and underpasses. He loved the smell of the cool, dry desert air with juniper and sage from the brush. He loved the Mexican restaurants that were on practically every block, and he was sure every one of them was fucking awesome. He loved smoke breaks on the set. He loved tying prussics and half-hitches and working until 2 a.m. and falling asleep sitting up on the couch. He loved the action and the momentum and the whole vibe. "Hello, is this Ken Flesh?" "No, I'm sorry," Ken responded, surprised by the strength of his own voice. "No, I am afraid my name is Ben Slesher. Let me spell it out for you. Benslesher. Got it?" He realized he was smiling. More than smiling, he was beaming. He must have looked like a lunatic. "And I'm also afraid I'm no longer interested in Foot Locker. I'm afraid I have another engagement. Thank you very much." He hung up, went over to the desk, pulled open the drawer, and pulled out Lou Ferrigno's autographed photo. Then he swept the stack of bills into the drawer and slammed it shut. He grabbed a pushpin and stuck Lou's photo right up in the center of the wall.